I think you.
Excuse me while we sort out the wardrobe. Yeah, that's fine. Well, I have to say, so the first thing is just to let you all know, I think we are live streaming this evening. So if you wish to go and watch back later, please do. I would like to say I'm absolutely blown away by the number of you who've come. I wasn't expecting anything like this. Thank you so much, all of you, for coming out for this book launch. I'm really excited about it. Poor Mandy has been a little more reticent and British about it. I don't think it's really her thing, but it's so lovely to be able to celebrate something like this. So do thank you so much for coming out. So what we're going to do is I'm
just going to drink wine.
I'm going to ask Mandy a few questions. And then about the book, and hopefully sort of give you an idea. I'm not a professional interviewer. I have no idea what I'm doing. Please bear with me. So I think the first question that is on everybody's lips, and actually as people were coming through on the sales desk, sounds so posh, is who is Alex Serreti?
Yes, indeed. Where does that come from? Lots of people were asking about that. Well, first of all, and I'm sorry, but this is research, the reality is when it comes to crime fiction, a lot of men will not pick up a book that has a woman's name on it. Sorry about that. So I chose a gender-neutral name, as in Alex. But I'm still writing as a woman. I mean, I know that some women write as men and some men write as women, don't they? I don't know who that could be, but I'm writing as a woman, and it does have relevance because actually my parents are here as well, because when I was born, I was going to be called Alexandra. But because this is how it goes anyway, so because I was a month premature and I was only £4.12, they decided it was a very long name for a very little child, which is why they called me Amanda. So Alex is kind of there in the background. Now the Serreti comes from my father's mother side of the family. So I was talking to my grandmother many, many years ago, and her grandmother was called Angelina Florence Serreti. And it's just a fab name. And it has that kind of slightly mafiosa feel about it. And you know when sometimes you start on something and you think, that's it. And Alex Serreti just sounded good. For a crime fiction, go for it. So Alex Serreti is what it is. And I wanted to make a break between that and the theological stuff that I do, because this is something altogether different.
And talking about the separating out from theology, I mean, this is obviously a bit of a departure. Have you always, apart from theology, what have you always written? Is this something that sort of leaks out of you, or how does this... tell us about, I mean, so is it something that you've always done?
Yeah.
Is fiction something you've done before?
So I did start writing novels when I wrote one at 13, one at 14, one at 17. They all live under my bed, never to see the light of day, ever. Then I wrote one when I was a curate, and that was really therapy for me. So, you know, we'll move on from that too. And then I did some poetry. I did some dinosaur stories for our goddaughter for her baptism, and that's on Amazon, by the way, just plug it there. And then I started writing drama scripts, and I know there are some of you here who have been involved in these things, both in the stage shows and in the film as well that we did. So it has been there as part of it, and then I moved on to visual storytelling in learning to make films in a very kind of modest way. But it was that storytelling part has always been a really important thing in what I do and what I enjoy, and that creativity. So yeah, I've always. Oh, and then theology. I forgot about that bit. After COVID, I did write The Beach and The Ambassador.
Both of which are available on Amazon, $9.99.
So, which was good fun, and we independently published that, and yeah, that was great.
So why crime, as opposed to, I don't know, romance, for example?
I don't read romance, I have to say. I only read one romance author. Have I told you about Phoebe McLeod? So I do read that, but generally speaking, I don't read masses and masses of fiction. I'm reading more. But why crime? Well, I do love a true crime documentary. Put your hand up if you love a true crime documentary. Yeah? There is something about that fascination, and it is a bit dark, I have to say. There is something of fascination about what is it, why do people do these terrible things, heinous things, and what's that motivation? But the other side is, how do you catch them? And I do love also that side of it, where the police are working together, or the forensics. There's a very good book by Val McDermott on forensics, and there's just a sense of how it all comes together, and seeking to find out catch that killer. So normally if I see something on Netflix and it says, you know, in the mind of the killer, I'm thinking, right, I'm going to sit down and watch that, because I'm going to enjoy that. But I do like it in the fullest sense of the word, really, and all the twists and turns of who's the murderer, finding out the mystery of it, and enjoying that.
So, I know you talked there very much sort of factually. What about the fiction side? What particular crime fiction would you say you enjoy? Yeah,
well, I think there's something. I mean, crime fiction is a huge market. So we have the kind of cosy crime, which is again a massive market, and I want to honour and respect my friend on the yes waving there, Penny Stevens, who has got her book out, and you've got another one coming, haven't you? When is that? Come on, let's just have a bit of a plug. July. And that is called?
Forgive Us Our Trespasses.
Excellent, thank you. So there's cosy crime, and then there's the other side, which gets grittier and grittier and grittier. So we had a couple of books from Tess Gerritsen recently, who's a great writer, but they are a bit gruesome, and we were listening to it. And so mine's probably somewhere in the middle. It's part police procedure and part not, in some ways. And so I like very varied ideas about crime. I like actually Penny got me onto this Ellie Griffith's books, which are more mystery. So you've got Dr. Ruth Galloway, who's a forensic archaeologist, and she works with the police. So it's not just police procedural, it's actually looking at those different types of kind of approaching the matter, approaching death, approaching murders, and that, which I kind of really enjoyed seeing, just trying to think. I think what I've written is more akin, if you like, kind of L.J. Ross or the Northumberland books. It's quite a similar...
Except they're not set in Northumberland, it's not set in Northumberland at all.
No, this isn't. It's set in Kent and Sussex, but it's a similar kind of thing. In terms of fiction, as in watching, I do love things like Unforgotten, Line of Duty, but I didn't like the ending. Sorry, Jed. But, you know, I think there's lots of things on TV, Grace, that we enjoy, which are more police procedural, which is about how we catch the killers, which is great.
So I think that leads us quite nicely on to telling us a bit about the book and what you can reveal about the story without spoiling it.
Okay. I mean, I would say read the back of the book, which is the easiest summary, but I've taken 3 kind of foci in it. So there is the voice of the murderer that is threaded through the book, so you get to hear about some of the murderer's motivation. Then you've got the police, a small town police force, trying to make sense and trying to find out who's gone missing, and then bodies arrive and trying to work out who's doing this. And then you've got also, and this is the main issue, is that there is a woman priest called Reverend Beth, who when she has a migraine has a visual aura with it. Now, I don't have migraines with visual aura, but she has that, and she has a vision of where the bodies are buried. She hears, she sees, she experiences that the body, where the body has been buried, some of the details that nobody else would know. And there is a clash between her and the police force when they actually find out what's happening, and some of the accuracy that she's able to impart. Where does it come from? Is it to be trusted? Is it something that they can follow up? There's lots of skepticism. There's lots of ridicule. There's lots of what on earth is this about? And she herself is trying to work out where this information is coming from. And is it accurate? And of course the police are thinking, well, how does she know this? Either has she got a mental health issue, is it a psychotic breakdown, or is she involved in the crime in some way? Does she know who the murderer is? So there's lots of layers and layers and layers of trying to find out how does she know this, and follow the crime as well, and the serial killer.
And in terms of, what audience would you say you're aiming primarily at here?
Okay, this is not a Christian book for a Christian audience, I'm telling you that. There is some language, which of course I had to look up, you understand. Yeah. It is set that the conversations with the police officers are a little bit rougher than one might have, perhaps openly in the church, so it's not a Christian book per se. There are Christian themes in it. There are obviously Reverend Beth and her clergy colleague Howard are working in the church, and the church is part of the backdrop to their story. So I can write that quite clearly. I've had to do quite a lot more research for the police side of things, and I certainly did some research for there's an iPlayer, the BBC series called Missing, and it's about what the police do when people go missing, all the procedure and what needs to happen. So I was busy taking notes about that. But the other thing is, whereas sometimes I feel, oh, I don't know whether I've got this right, and I had real anxiety that I was going to write something that would just be crashingly wrong, and people who work in this field will say, well, that would never happen. Just like clergy do when they watch other priests on the TV and they go, oh, that's the wrong stole, or something really nerdy like that. And I was worried that I would get that wrong. But then on the other hand, when you look at police programs, there's a lot of artistic license. Have you noticed nobody waits for backup? Because that would be really boring, wouldn't it? What's happening? It's the climax of the, well, we're all waiting for backup now. And that's what you would do, but actually you have to have some...
Yeah, in the real world, you'd wait for backup, yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I see, right. Sorry, I interrupted you, Karen.
No, sorry.
Sort of on the more nerdy side, if we may, crime is quite a difficult thing to write because you've talked about misdirection, you've talked about laying breadcrumbs, those kinds of things. So when I talk to people who write, I mean, people have different ways of doing it. I know one guy who very famously said to me, "I don't know who the murderer is till the end." We know that that's not the case with you, but can you tell us a bit about how are you a big planner? Do you sort of plan out each chapter in advance, or are you sort of more of a pantster flying by the, we'll just type chapter 1 and see what happens? How did you go about that?
I love the fact that you say, do you organise everything? Or what was the phrase? I thought, how long has this man been married to me for?
Well, all you can hope.
No, I mean somewhere in between. So there is some kind of, I did know who the murderer was at the beginning, and I did plan some of the chapters. I didn't write everything. Some people write everything copiously, don't they? I didn't do that. There is some organic process in things moving on and thinking, oh, I'll put that there. But I've had to put a diagram of what happens in each chapter, so I keep on top of, 1, the clues, there will be clues, and 2, there will be misdirection. And so that makes it more exciting because you think, oh, I think it's that person, and then you think, oh, no, it's not. Oh, I think that's that, and no, it's not, or whatever. And it draws people in because you become a detective. You become a detective in the book to think about, how is this going to be solved? Who is the murderer? How is this going to resolve? And it's not everybody waiting for backup, as we said. It's going to be that. So you need to do some plotting. Even I have to do some plotting, and I'm pretty rubbish at admin and stuff like that. But I think in terms of the overall structure, then that's quite important.
And you've talked a bit about the fact that Reverend Beth has these migraines and the aura, and obviously I've been married to you for a long time, that you're a migraine sufferer yourself. How much is Reverend Beth based on you to an extent, or to anybody else that you probably ought not to name?
No, she's not based on me. I mean, there are some things where we are alike, and there are some things I've specifically made her not like me. She may say or do things that I know that I wouldn't, because I think writing things, you have to build a character and you want them to have an independent voice. This isn't, there will be things, and obviously because I'm writing about a woman priest in the background of the church who has migraines, but not ones I have, and actually there will be some similarities. She's quite feisty, I like that, I do like that, but there are other things where she's quite different, and I think she needs to have her own voice. And do I borrow some of the characteristics from other people? I couldn't possibly say.
So, one thing that you might notice is that when you get to the end of the book, is the first chapter of the next.
Yeah, don't cheat. Please don't cheat and read the chapter. No, don't.
You have said that this is going to be the first in a series. So, any idea when we might expect the next?
So, for the next book, I have written 1 chapter. So I haven't got any further than that. We've had quite a lot going on, so I don't think that's coming anytime soon. But once I get into it, and those of you who write, and I know there's quite a lot of you that write, once you get into it, you are in the zone, and you're enjoying it, and it just comes, and it's just like, oh, I've been sitting down for hours, and I really need to get up and walk a bit, or whatever. And so I know that once I get into it, it will come together, I think, quite a lot.
Well, we'll look forward to that.
Thank you.
So before we kind of wrap up a little bit, I just wanted to take the opportunity, if I may. This is the timeshare sales bit. Okay, we've brought you in here. We wined you, dined you. Now you get the sales pitch. No, I don't mean that seriously. I just wanted to just give you some idea about why we're publishing the way that we have, and hopefully ways in which you can help Mandy to get this book out there. So we've chosen. So there are several ways that you can publish a book. You can go down, if you're fortunate, you can get an agent. You can go down the traditional publishing route, and that's still something that happens, and that's what happened for Penny, and that's great. Publishers are generally nervous about debut authors because it's more of a risk for them. So the next way that you can do this is through Amazon. Now, everybody loves to hate Amazon, but they do provide the most incredible platform for people to get books out there at a reasonable cost, or in fact no cost, depending on how much work you're prepared to do yourself. And that is better than sort of throwing yourselves into. There are people out there who will gladly take your money and publish your book and do nothing with it. And we don't want to go down that route. So Amazon provides this incredible platform, and there is a community, there's a thriving community of authors who do very well self-publishing on Amazon. And the word self-publishing has lost its kind of stigma. I went to a conference some time ago, and I didn't realize that actually Beatrix Potter, I believe, self-published because she wanted to publish her books in a small size that children can hold. And the publisher said, no, we're not prepared to do that. So she said, well, I'm going to publish it myself then. But there has always been there has been a bit of a stigma around self-publishing, but that is gone, and Amazon is very good at supporting that. And whether you like it or not, they do dominate the book market. They have. I was doing some research, and they have something like 50% of the market of paperbacks in the UK. And if you include ebooks, that goes up to 85%. And I don't know if I mentioned to any of you, but if you didn't get a paperback copy, the ebook copy will be coming out in about a week of the book, of today. So you can't ignore Amazon. They provide this platform, and that's what we've decided to do. And at the end of the day, Amazon is a bookseller. Well, they sell everything, don't they? But they started as a bookseller. What they want is to sell books, like any bookseller does. And the way that they do it, so if you write a book, you upload it to Amazon, great. How do you get people to find it? That's the problem. And Amazon isn't going to help you do that. But they will track what's going on. So the first thing that they'll track, most of the self-published books on Amazon sell fewer than 10 copies. So if we get above 10 copies, we're already winning, frankly. But the sad news is that all the copies we sell tonight don't count towards that. So the first thing that I'd like you to do, if possible, if you enjoy the book, and this is all important, if you enjoy the book, is please, and you've got a hardback copy, please don't give it or lend it. Encourage somebody to buy it. Okay? Because then that will start to ramp up the sales. And yes, it's $9.99, but that's a glass of wine in a wine bar, frankly. And this book's going to entertain you for longer than a glass of wine in a wine bar. So please, and as I say, the Kindle edition will be $2.99, so that's even cheaper. So please, encourage people to buy it. We did do the kind of, buy one, give one away for a friend, which went extraordinarily well. So that would be great, because what will happen is that Amazon will spot that, and then their automated AI algorithms and all the things that they do will say, oh, Mandy's had to say what kind of book it is. It's a mystery. It's on all these genres. We will email people who buy this type of book and say, have you thought about buying Mandy's book? The second thing that they track are reviews. And everybody who has a bookmark, and there should be plenty of bookmarks, I've put a QR code on there which should take you straight to the page where you can leave a review if you would like to. Now, my mother always said, if you can't think of anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. So if we could keep that, that would be nice. But if you felt a 4 or 5 star review leaking out of you, which would be very welcome. I'm not asking anybody to perjure themselves, but if you felt a review, please do leave one, because it does make a difference. And again, Amazon do track these things. And again, it will trigger them to start to recommend the book to other people who buy in this genre. So that's my kind of sales spiel. I hope it makes sense. If you want any kind of further information on the dark side of Amazon and self-publishing, I'll happily tell you another time. But that's basically how it works. So that's the if you're able to help us in that way, that would be really, really appreciated. And that's the kind of big ask from us. And I think then I'm going to hand over to you to say.
I don't want to keep you too long. I just want to say a massive thank you to all of you for coming. It's overwhelming how many people have come. And thank you so much for everybody who's brought nibbles, who's got everything ready, who's sorted out just that hospitality part. We are so grateful, and thank you so much for buying copies and buying more copies for your friends and stuff. And I'd like to just say thank you to my family and to Liza as well, who's hopefully will be my daughter-in-law at some point. I don't know whether she can hear that.
Steady on.
Yeah, steady on. But I think also, particularly considering things are quite tough for us at the moment, I particularly want to just honour Patrick, who has been driving this. I've been kind of hiding with my head in my hands in a kind of, please make it go away. Because I can talk about God and I can march up and down the church doing sermons, but when it's about me, and it's something that I've written, and Penny, you'll understand this, it's a kind of like, please love my baby, please tell me that my baby's pretty, and all that kind of stuff when you've created something. And to have somebody who is not administratively challenged in the way that I am, to drive this, to organise it, and I know that you and Charlie particularly were doing the flow of how to do this as well. I just want to say a massive thank you to you, Patrick, for bringing this all together. Let's give him a round of applause.
I think that sums us up. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming. I hope you've, I'm just, as I said at the start, I'm blown away by how many people have come, and I hope you've had a nice time. I hope there was. I didn't get into the nibbles. I don't know whether they were. I hope they were nice. I'm sure they were.
They were great.
And I want to meet you, just say goodbye to you at the back, because I didn't get a chance to say properly hello and goodbye to people. So I shall rush to the back shortly and give people...
Well, you better do it now before people start to move. Thank you very much, everybody.